I know that if you watch the news, you read the newspapers, and even listen to podcasts, the common narrative that is pushed out there is that William Ruto has done nothing, and in cases where they admit he has done something, they have insisted that whatever it is that he has done is against the interest of the public. Overall, William Ruto has failed. In this episode, I want us to examine whether that is true. Is it true that William Ruto has done nothing? Or is it true that in cases where he has done a few things, those few things that he has done are anti the people? They are not for the common good. If that is some subject you are interested in, I'm urging you to stay tuned. I'm urging you to stay tuned. And if you're watching for the first time, please take a moment, subscribe to this channel. First of all, I want to ask something of you. For a minute, just put aside your political prejudice against Ruto. Let us have a factual conversation. Let us look at Ruto's performance in factual manner. Meaning, we are not going to go with we hear. No. It's has he done this or not? Because, like I told you, the narrative out there is that the president made promises that he did not intend to keep. And so, for the 2 years he's been in power, he's done absolutely nothing. In fact, they are saying he must go. There are times that these people admit that William Ruto actually has done something, because at times it is difficult to just ignore what is very obvious. But even once they admit that William Ruto has done something, like I said before, they say that it is not for the good of the country. It is purely a selfish endeavor, something that is doing to benefit him and maybe a few of his cronies. Is this true, ladies and gentlemen? To answer this, let us first of all ask ourselves, on what promises did Ruto vie? Because if you are to judge somebody, then it has to be based on that person's job description. During Kibaki, performance contracting was introduced. And in performance contracting, it is how you've performed vis-a-vis what your job descriptions and objectives are. For instance, William Ruto, when he was campaigning, he had something called a manifesto. A manifesto is where a party or a politician lists what they intend to do should they be given a chance to lead. And so we had a manifesto launch by William Ruto. We had a manifesto launch by opponents like Raila Odinga. Even Wajakoya had his manifesto launch, not to forget the likes of Mwaure. In your manifesto, you list key things that you intend to do should you be given an opportunity to lead. And so, ladies and gentlemen, here's the question. On what grounds did Ruto vie? What did he campaign on? What did he say he would do given a chance to lead? Well, William Ruto had what we call bottom-up economic transformation agenda, or what we usually nowadays call BETA. In this BETA, there were both key pillars and objectives. Like, this is what I want to do, okay? I have my key pillars, and this is what I intend to realize should I do them. Are we together up to that point? This is what Ruto plans to do, but to what end? Well, this is my objective. So let us begin with the key pillars. What is it that President Ruto promised he would focus on should he be given a chance to be president. For us to understand better, we need to understand where it was derived from. Better, like I said, is the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. In this agenda, there are 5 things that Ruto wants to do, and then there is what we call the objective, what he wants to realize by doing the 5 things. But how did he come up with them? Just to take you back, William Ruto was the deputy president of the Republic when they were campaigning for a second term. That was between 2016 and 2017, one of the most viciously contested elections in our history. President Uhuru and William Ruto together launched what we call the Big Four agenda. I believe you remember it. In that Big Four agenda, there are 4 things that the Jubilee administration promised Kenyans that should they be given a second chance, they were going to solely focus on them because they believed that by realizing the promises, the 4 promises, realizing them, even 50%, Kenya would have changed drastically for the better. So what happened? As you know, Uhuru Kenyatta, once he got his second term, chose politics instead of performance. So the Big Four agenda, which included affordable housing, universal health care, food security, and manufacturing. Actually, I've listed 4 of them. It was universal health care, affordable housing, food security, and there was job and manufacturing. Uhuru Kenyatta made a decision that this was not as important to pursue than to pursue BBI, which is Building Bridges Initiative. This was in Uhuru's mind. You needed to sort the political problem before you did the economic one. Yet when he campaigned, he did not campaign to sort the political problem. He campaigned to sort out the economic challenges. And so there was divergence of views. As Uhuru pursued political resolutions, having a politically stable country, Kenyans were left wondering what happened to the Big Four agenda. In their opinion, we could scale the stairs while chewing the gum. We didn't have to stop economic progresses to pursue political progresses. You get me? Kenyans were of the opinion, based on how they voted, that they wanted somebody who will, as they pursue political stability, they were also doing things that had meaningful changes to Kenyans' life. And so when William Ruto started to formulate his manifesto, he did not veer off from what they had promised in 2017. It tells you how sincere he was with this. In his opinion, it was Kenyans had waited for over 60 years to see something meaningful in terms of change. And it was going to be so bad to just abandon the Big Four agenda simply because it was being pushed by Uhuru, who by that time they were not friends. William Ruto stood tall. He went above petty politics, embraced that Big Four agenda, and modified it, added some elements to form the better bottom-up economic transformation agenda. So in the better agenda, you are not going to find something strange. You will still have affordable housing as a key component. There is still universal health care as a key component. There is still agriculture and manufacturing as a key component. There is what we call SMEs, micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises are given a lot of attention in the better. And you have the digital economy, where President Ruto was of the opinion that we needed to have a vibrant digital economy in Kenya. It is just, ladies and gentlemen, Big Four agenda modified. And that is why I say some people are not very sincere when they oppose bottom-up agenda. Because it was the Big Four agenda that they were all for. William Ruto just modified it and said, I will still make it, I will still push with the Big Four agenda, but in a better way. I'm adding the SMEs and digital economy. Ladies and gentlemen, up to that point, I hope you understand what informed Ruto's manifesto. That is how President Ruto settled on his manifesto, on what he was going to do given a chance. And like I said, we need to judge people based on what is it that they promised they would do and what is it that they are doing currently. President Ruto promised 5 things, ladies and gentlemen. He promised that should he be given a chance to lead this country, he will focus on affordable housing. Why? Because he believed that if you have affordable housing, you can eradicate, not improve, slums. Because Kenya has over 1,000 slums. In every urban center in Kenya, there is some sort of informal settlement. Whether it is a very small urban center, you will still find some slum. And in these slums, ladies and gentlemen, some of you might have not lived in a slum. I have lived in a slum most of my life. And I tell you that most of the things that people enjoy are luxuries in those places. Things like clean water, things like sanitation, those are luxuries. There people are fighting to find something to put on the table. Just food. And I can tell you that people in those places don't care what manner of food it is. Some even eat what had been rejected by the wealthy, what you would call in Swahili makombo. You would go to Dandora dam site and you'll find people picking bread that is past expiry date and coming to resell it in Korogocho, and people would buy that gladly to eat. Those are dehumanizing conditions. And majority of Kenyans in urban dwellings, ladies and gentlemen, the sad truth is that they are in the slums. Even the statistics in Nairobi shows that 75% of people in Nairobi are either in slums or ghettos. And so the president was of the opinion that the affordable housing program that they started in 2017, the one they told Kenyans they will do, this thing was valid and it needed every support. And so the president pushed with it, because he believes, apart from creating jobs for thousands of Kenyans, because you won't build these houses out of a vacuum. You'll need people. You'll need people to work there, masons. You'll need quantity surveyors. You'll need people who do welding. You'll need every sort of people. It is a serious value chain. It will create thousands of jobs. And already, as of now, over 120,000 people are working across the country. So it is creating meaningful jobs. The president said, I will do affordable housing. I want us to pause, because that is a promise he made. And we are only going to judge Ruto based on what did he promise to do and is he doing it. The president promised, I will do affordable housing. And he gave reasons. Remember, President Ruto's manifesto was criticized for one thing. Not that it was bad. Experts, during the analysis on the TVs after President Ruto launched his manifesto, said that it was too detailed for a manifesto. Meaning Ruto went into the nitty-gritty. This is what I plan to do. This is how I plan to do it. And this is the objective. This is what we intend to realize should it be successful. It was too detailed that Ruto's critics had nothing against it but to say it was too much information for just a manifesto. But William didn't want confusion. He was telling those who were going to vote for him that this is what I want to do, and this is how I plan to do it, and this is what I expect to gain after doing it. This is what I expect to achieve by doing it. And so he told Kenyans, I am going to push with affordable housing. How am I going to do it? I am going to ask Kenyans who are already employed to give me something small. 1.5% of their salary. I add to whatever the employer is going to give, another 1.5. The leading employer in Kenya is the government. So government was also going to contribute 1.5%. I will use this money, talk to private investors, engage them, and we will start creating two types of houses. One is called social housing. Social housing, ladies and gentlemen, are a category of the affordable houses, but which are specifically targeting the very poor of our society, especially those who are in the slums. Remember, somebody who is in the slums is struggling to pay 2,000 shillings as rent. And so you cannot move this person to a house that is 15,000, claiming that it is affordable housing. They won't live there. It was tried in Kibra. People were moved from Kibra and moved to better houses. What did they do? They rented those houses to those who could pay and returned back to build slum. So William said we are going to have two sorts of houses. We are going to have social housing, where we will target those who are in the slums. They will join these houses without having to pay a deposit. And they will be paying rent to own. But the rent will be so subsidized that maybe in a one bedroom, you will pay 3,000. Or maybe if you can afford a two bedroom, you will pay just averagely 7,000. And so these are social housing. It's only meant for those who are in slum. It means that the people who were swept by the river the other time where we had flooding, and the president promised them that once the houses are over, they would be catered for, those are the people who are going to get into those houses. Social housing. And it is social because there is some small contribution from those who already have some sort of, some form of income, and it is added with what the government can get and other private investors so that they can avail houses. This, ladies and gentlemen, intends to eliminate slums. The other side of this housing is the affordable housing. The cost of property has skyrocketed. And so I'm not even surprised when I see some players in the real estate industry vehemently opposed to affordable housing and social housing. To them, it is a threat to their business. It's the same thing when the government of Turkey in 2016, the government of Hungary in 2016 came to Kenya and proposed that they were going to build light rail around Nairobi to ease jam and make commuting a breeze. What happened? Several court injunctions by those who do matatu business, matatu association, matatu owners, etc. They went to court and made it so difficult for Uhuru to do this. And since Uhuru was the kind of a president that he would try an idea, and if you refuse, he asks himself the simple question, do I actually need it? And if he finds that he doesn't need it, he agrees with you. For Uhuru, he tried this affordable housing. Actually, Uhuru tried to deduct 1.5%. Even in Raila's manifesto, you can go and confirm. He said specifically they will be deducting 1.5%. But for Uhuru, this is what he did. Once he saw there was resistance, Kotu went to court, and so many people rejected this plan. What did Uhuru do? Uhuru shelved it. So he was that kind of a leader. He asks himself, I'm trying to help you, and you are making noise, so be on your own. You want to stay in slums? Enjoy being there. But that's not how Ruto sees leadership. He is saying that leadership is an opportunity to make the hard decisions to help the majority. So there are people in the real estate industry who are not happy that their businesses are being targeted, okay? That their businesses are going to be challenged. And so they will complain bitterly. They will hire people to run narratives against affordable housing. And currently it is happening. But you need a leader like William Ruto, who will say that for the sake of the majority, I will push on with this no matter what. In fact, the president made it very clear that he doesn't care if he's re-elected or not. What he wants is that there is somebody in the slums there whose life is going to change and is going to move into a house where they will live with dignity. To him, that is more important than appeasing people. He's unlike Uhuru. who was like, okay, if you don't want, that is up to you. Stay there, struggle there. That is affordable housing, ladies and gentlemen. Did Ruto promise this? Yes. Is it going on? Yes. Is Ruto doing exactly what he said? Yes. So tell me, when you say Ruto has done nothing, you're lying. He is doing something. When you are saying that whatever he's doing is against the people, you are also lying. Affordable housing is going to save millions who are struggling in slums. And it is already creating jobs. So how is that against the people? Or simply because you are asked to give 1.5% of whatever it is that you already have, which you should know is mostly sponsored by the majority who are poor. And they are just asking you, please, now that you are in a position where you are earning something, can you give us 1.5% of whatever it is that you are earning? And actually the government is going to match whatever it is that you are giving. And so that we can afford a house for that relative of yours. Because every one of us has a relative in the slum. We just don't want to admit it. Most of us have relatives in the slum who are really struggling. Some of us don't even want to go and visit them because the conditions are so mediocre. And you are being asked, please, just a small thing, so that at least we can build some house for your friend. And then now you are saying that is anti the people, simply because you've been asked to get involved. That is just being selfish. And you cannot hide that selfishness and make it look like it is a bad idea overall. Just say, personally, I don't feel like I need to chip in. It is understandable. That is affordable housing, ladies and gentlemen. How is it a bad thing? How is it against the people? Because that is what you are trying to say. That this is one of those things that Ruto is doing because you couldn't refute it. You are seeing the houses. You are seeing people moving into them. So you can't say he has done nothing. Now what you remain with is to say how bad an idea it is. No. Just be bold enough and say, I didn't expect this man to do what he promised because I had been brought up to believe he is a liar and he doesn't do whatever he promises. And now he promised 5 things and there is evidence that he has done one of them. Let's go to agriculture and food security. When the president took over, then, ladies and gentlemen, just to jog your memory, then unga was 230. Cooking oil was 500 shillings per liter or thereabout. Cooking gas was playing at 1600 for just the 6 kg mtungi. And the president asked himself a simple question because millers had come and said, you see, we had an agreement with Uhuru Kenyatta. He pays us 7 billion. We provide unga at 100. Actually, he didn't pay us, so you already owe us. But we are willing to continue with this proposition so that we can make unga cheaper for people so that you become popular. Ruto said no. That is like putting a bandage on top of a cut before dressing it. So let's say, God forbid, you got injured, and you are cut, you're bleeding. Then your solution to that is to take a bandage, slap it there. My friend, you'll still bleed. It won't help you. The bandage will not help you stop bleeding. The first thing people do is to address the problem. What was the problem? Why was unga going to those astronomical prices? Ruto realized that it was because we were producing less than we consume. And so the laws of demand and supply. If you are producing maybe 10 million bags and your population consumes 20 million bags, the 10 million bags will never be enough. It means the people who produce these 10 million bags will sell at a very high price. And if millers buy the unga, the maize at a higher price, trust me, they will sell it at a higher price. So what did Ruto do? He had promised Kenyans in his manifesto with a detail that I will do this to ensure we have enough food. What did he do, ladies and gentlemen? Let us be honest. William Ruto subsidized fertilizer. I can tell you people went to the street to demonstrate demanding subsidies for unga. Yes, people who will tell you today that economy is not about unga, that you cannot be telling us unga every day. These are the same people who went to the street with sufurias on their head, claiming and demanding and insisting that the economy was about unga. And so, when unga is resolved, and they have nothing else to accuse Ruto of, when they say that Ruto's plan to subsidize fertilizer is not going to materialize into cheaper unga, and it has materialized into cheaper unga, do you know what now you hear? You are being told the economy cannot be about unga, that you don't be naive. The same people who are on the street, burning things, looting because of unga, with sufurias on their head, saying we demand cheaper unga. Now that unga is cheaper because of Ruto's intervention, as he promised. Don't forget, they're telling you that economy is not about unga. And so I'm not surprised, because when you are brought up to believe that somebody is so bad, whenever they do something good, you would rather die than give them credit. So you will hear people saying, we had bumper harvest. How? Why couldn't we have bumper harvest before? Oh, they will tell you, this is now an act of God. It's God who brought rain. Amen. But when you are demanding, saying Ruto has to go, were you confusing him with God? When you went to the street demanding that Ruto had to go because unga was expensive, didn't you know that Ruto has no role to play in bringing the rains? Did you forget God? These are just how insincere we are, ladies and gentlemen, when our hypocrisy has been exposed. We are opposing Ruto, saying he cannot lower prices of food. And when they are low, ladies and gentlemen, you know what they say? You cannot reduce an economy to unga and cooking oil and cooking gas. When the US raised interest rates and currencies worldwide really had to deal with a stronger dollar, our currency was approaching 170 for a dollar. Guess what? Ruto was extremely blamed. He was accused of being a poor manager. Even though it was happening everywhere, Ruto was accused. People were like, Uhuru left us here, look at where we are. They were forgetting that Uhuru was artificially managing our currency, which was costing us a lot of money, by the way. You can go and confirm that. He was artificially managing our currency. Artificially. Which was costing us money. And so William says, we are not going to artificially manage this thing. We must come up with policies that are going to make sure we have a stable currency. And to date, ladies and gentlemen, Kenyan shilling is ranked among the most resilient currencies in the world against the dollar. It is not as if now that Kenya shillings is trading at 130, it's not as if that is the same case in Tanzania or no. Those ones are still dealing with a very stronger dollar. Ruto's economic council and the people at central bank and the people at Treasury sat down and found something that is long-lasting. You know what we were told? That after a while, because there was, I don't know, Chinese New Year, after a while, the dollar will go back to 200. It didn't. The same way we were told with unga. We were told this is just a bumper harvest. After this, unga will go back to, I don't know, 250. For the longest time, we've been enjoying unga here at even 80-something shillings. And if you go to the rurals, I told you in a video yesterday, if you go to the rurals, you will find people still selling unga at selling a bag of maize at 2,500. That is a 90 kg bag of maize at 2,500. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us be honest. He promised that he was going to do something about the cost of food. He was going to do something to make our to lead us to the path of food security. And he did it, ladies and gentlemen. So when you say he has done nothing, when you say boldly that that is a liar, everything he says is a lie, are you saying that he didn't promise he will lower the price of unga and other things? He did. Are you saying that you are buying unga at 230? You are not. So somebody made a promise and he has fulfilled it. And you still call him a liar. Why? Because of petty politics. Especially the ones who turned against him recently, the Mount Kenya people. Still simply petty politics. These are people who were saying Ruto has achieved this and this and this. Now, because one of their son is out of government, everything Ruto does is bad. Affordable housing is not working. Agriculture is not working. Yet, yet everything is pointing towards the fact that Ruto promised something and he delivered that thing. Ladies and gentlemen, another thing that Ruto promised was universal health cover. Universal health care. And this is something that people take lightly. Kibaki tried to bring universal health care and it flopped. Uhuru Kenyatta decided to pilot it in some counties. It failed miserably. What was lacking? Was it strategy to launch these things? Or what was happening? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, apart from poor strategy, what was lacking was the resolve. These leaders were not willing to bite the bullet. Because launching such massive healthcare products is going to cause some discomfort. And people are going to have challenges at the beginning. We call them the teething problems. And some leaders care so much about being loved that they would rather let Kenyans remain with what has not been working for them than to change the status quo, as long as they are going to remain loved. So Uhuru tries to launch this and he finds that it's bringing a lot of problems here and there. He goes to BBI. He abandons that. Ruto is saying, I gave you details in my manifesto. In fact, I was so detailed that you said that was too much for a manifesto, but I was deliberate. I gave you these details to tell you how I was going to implement the universal health care. William says, let us launch SHA, okay, to fix the health issue, to give Kenyans what they deserve, quality health care for all. Let us launch SHA. This SHA, ladies and gentlemen, is an authority. SHA is Social Health Authority, so it is an authority. This authority manages 3 funds. The first fund is called Primary Healthcare Fund. This, as the name suggests, deals with you at the primary level. And primary is from community health promoters up to level 3 hospital. Community health promoters, they will help you at home level. They'll come to your home, your house, take details, medical details that is, medical history, add them to the digital system so that should you go to an hospital or be it a dispensary or a level 2 or a level 3 or a level 4, your details are already there. And these people will also guide you. Is this condition of yours something that you need to go to a level 2, a level 3, or a level 4? Or is it something you can handle at home? And if it is something that can be managed from home, they will give you some drug. They will be coming to your home with basic drug. And these community health promoters are not some imaginary people, I'm saying. They are already there. They are employed, 100,000 of them, by the way. And these are things that are going to help. This is part of that that universal health care. SHA is just the authority that is managing the universal health care. And I've said they have, the first fund is called Primary Health healthcare fund. And this primary healthcare fund, ladies and gentlemen, is going to help you from those community health promoters up to level 3. And when I say up to level 3, I include Linda Mama, you will have maternity and other things, you have optical, and you even have dental at level 3. That is up to level 3 hospital. The interesting part is you don't pay a dime. For you to access primary healthcare fund, all you have to do is be registered with SHA. You just go to Afya Yangu and you register. And that's all. You are covered at that level. You can have you can go to hospital, you can do dental, you can do optical. You can be treated up to level 3 hospital for free, without paying even a cent. Then, if that is not enough for your condition, then there is SHIF, which is Social Health Insurance Fund. It takes care of you from level 4 to level 6. So let's say whatever situation you have, you've been referred from a level 3 facility to a level 4, you need some surgery, sort of something like that, SHIF will chip in that particular fund. SHIF is like what NHIF was. You are already at the hospital. It is taking care of you at the hospital level. Okay? And the contribution is 2.7% for those who are formally employed, and the people who are very at the bottom of the pyramid, the system, the government will pay for them because some of them can't pay. But those who can pay, some will pay 300, others will pay based on what the mean testing has indicated. And that mean testing, you answer some questions and then it decides how much you're supposed to pay. The beauty is that there is room for appeal. You can appeal if it is asking you to pay more than actually you can afford. All these are things that are to help you should you have a case that needs the attention of facilities from level 4 to level 6. But let's say even in this level 4 to level 6, whatever your condition is, it is already draining your contribution. It is already draining whatever it is that is allocated for you at SHIF. Nobody is going to send you home. Nobody is going to tell you now, you have to now top up. You have to pay from pocket. Now bring cash. No. There is another fund, the third fund. It is called Emergency and Chronic Illness Fund. Okay? Emergencies and Chronic Illness Fund. This one steps in if whatever was being handled at level 4, level 2, at level 4, level 5, and level 6 is taking longer, meaning it is a disease that is taking too long to handle. It's a condition that needs that needs to be taken care of for a long time. So it is a chronic disease. It is a chronic illness, something that will need a lot of attention over time, and which will naturally exhaust whatever you had at SHIF. From that description of SHA, which part do you disagree with? Which part? Which part is anti-Kenyans? Which part is anti the people? Because your argument is Ruto made promises that he has never fulfilled. We can prove to you that he fulfilled this and this and this. I have told you about affordable housing, what he said he will do, what he's doing, and how it is affecting people. Exactly what he promised. I have told you about food security, agriculture, the value chain, what he said he will do, what he has done, and what Kenyans are enjoying today. I am telling you about universal health care. This is something the president promised. Some of these presidents care so much about being loved, and others also don't give a damn. They're like, I am not the poor person here. I am trying to help you and you're making noise. So make noise. For people like Uhuru, for instance, he tries to do affordable housing, you make noise. He says, let me focus on BBI because that is what you want. He tries to launch universal health care. It flops because Kenyans are like, no. They go to court. They stop. They injunct everything. Uhuru says, kaini hivo. That is what you want. Ruto is saying that is not why I was elected. I was not elected to be loved. I'm elected to change lives. And at times, you need to help people from themselves. Our parents used to tell us that you might feel that whatever it is that we are doing is against you, but I can assure you that it is for your own good. And so that is the case. The president is like the father of the nation. So he's saying, some Kenyans are of the opinion this is very bad, this is very punitive. Imagine you are asking me for 2.7% of my salary, you are raiding my pay slip, and all these other things. It's okay. Kenyans have the right to complain. But the president also has the duty to ensure that majority of Kenyans get quality health care. So that health care is not just a reserve of a few people. Let me tell you what I find so funny. Let's just go back to affordable housing before I return to health. You are enjoying 250,000 as an MP as housing allowance. Who is paying for this 250,000 that helps you to live in a leafy suburb? Who? The poor people in Korogocho, in Katwekera, in Kondele, and other places, because there are slums all over. Those poor people in those slums, when they are going to buy that bread, whatever they are contributing there is what you are using, what is used to pay you to live in a leafy suburb. Then Ruto comes and says, just as a way of being mindful of others, can you give us 1.5% of your salary, which is 1,000,000 shillings, 1.5%, so that we can help those constituents of yours to also have dignified living. And then you are all over making noise, saying your payslip is raided. This person must go. It is okay to be greedy. I want to repeat this. It is very okay to be greedy. In fact, I'm persuaded it is your constitutional right to be greedy. Just don't make it look like something it is not. Just say, I don't feel I should be helping my constituents or my neighbors or my relatives to have a dignified life. As far as I'm concerned, so long as they can bear the weight of helping me live a luxury life, that is how things are supposed to be. I struggle to be where I am, so I cannot be looking out for others. It's okay. People do that. We have family members who don't help each other. It's not going to be the first time. But don't make it look like it is something it is not. Don't make it look like this is very anti-people. It is not anti-people. Trying to get majority of Kenyans a decent housing is not anti-people. Unless the word anti changed its meaning when I was away. Just so that we are on the same page, President Ruto promised to embark on building affordable houses across the country. They are being built. There are people working there. That is a promise he made. That is a promise he has kept. And even if you want to call him a liar simply because 1.5% of your salary is taken and you want to demonize whatever this particular project is, it is okay. It is your right, ladies and gentlemen, to feel like it is not your responsibility to help others. Just don't pretend that is not what this is about. Don't say having affordable houses is a bad idea. Just say you don't feel like you are supposed to be part of the solution. You believe that as an MP or as a leader in this government, you are persuaded that the poor should ensure you and your kids live wonderful life. But when it is time for you to also return the favor, that is where you draw the line and you say, no, helping the poor, making sure they have affordable houses to live in dignity, that is not something you are not going to do. So it's okay. I respect your decision. The president also promised to lower the cost of living in terms of unga and other things. And today, ladies and gentlemen, whether you want to admit it or you don't want to admit it, the inflation speaks for itself. It is at 2%, which is the lowest it has been for the past 17 years. Whether you want to admit that or you don't want to admit that, you can't change those facts. And I've heard this claim that, you see, inflation can be down, but people don't feel it. How is inflation measured anyway? You see, before you say inflation is down and people don't feel it, what do you mean people don't feel it? How is it measured? Inflation mostly is about what your money can buy. What can that 1,000 get you? That is how you measure it. When inflation was at 9%, ladies and gentlemen, you'd go to the supermarket, pay 500 shillings for a liter of cooking oil. Now, you are paying maybe 250 or less for the same. You can't say that is not a significant drop unless you're just playing the usual petty politics. And you cannot insist that everybody else joins you in that petty politics of denying facts. That even though you are seeing this is being done, even though you are seeing that the cost of nyanya, the cost of kitungu and other things have gone down, you claim you are not feeling it. How are you not feeling the cost going down? When they were up, you are feeling that. When the cost of these products were up, you are complaining that they were up. Now when they are down, you are saying you are not feeling it. What do you mean you are not feeling it? That is the kind of dishonesty I'm dissuading us from. I'm saying that even if we want to oppose Ruto because we don't like him as a politician or because he is the threat to our candidate, it's okay. But don't pretend that whatever he's doing does not exist. If the cost of nyanya is down, it is down whether you want to admit it or not. If the cost of unga is down, it is down. There is nothing you can do about it. So whether you come up with narratives of I don't feel it or economy is not about unga, etc., you are on the street because of unga. Didn't you know economy is not about unga? When the cost of nyanya was high, you are saying it was high. So when it is low, you are saying you don't feel it. Inflation was 9%. Everybody was making noise. Now inflation is at 2%. You have another narrative of we are not feeling it. Even though it is low, the common mwananchi is not feeling it. The common mwananchi is buying things at a lower price. And that means a lot to them. So the president also promised universal healthcare. And SHA has already been launched. And I shared with you the details of it. And it is a good idea, ladies and gentlemen. It might have teething problems because it's something that was just launched the other day, but it is getting better day by day. We get testimony from people. I am a testimony. I have gone to hospital and have enjoyed these things. So you have people who are going and enjoy. The narratives that people are dying online and etc. You are asked a simple question. Can you show us where people are dying online? You see, these are the same stories that we hear. Anyway, another thing that the president promised, ladies and gentlemen, was to transform the micro, small, and medium enterprises, the mama mboga and watu wa boda boda. Businesses that maybe you need a very small capital to get you going. Maybe you need a small capital to get you going. What did the president promise? He said, because he knows that credit is the biggest challenge for these micro businesses that maybe need 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 to keep them afloat. And these people now had to depend on Shylocks and they also had to depend on predatory lenders, people who give you 1,000. So what did the president say? He said that I need to fix this. And how did he do it? The president of the republic promised that he will launch Hustler Fund. He launched Hustler Fund. Some people tried to fight it by thinking that if they borrowed and not refunded and not repaid the money, it will collapse. It has not collapsed. Over 18 million Kenyans are using Hustler Fund. And it is helping. And that Hustler Fund, it comes very handy. Ask those who use it. I'm one of them. It comes very handy. You might find yourself in a problem and that money can come in handy. Considering the interest is so minimal that in some cases you end up paying 4 bob as your interest. Very little. What happens? He promised he will do that and he has done that. In your theory of Ruto has done nothing, of Ruto is a liar, Ruto makes promises he doesn't keep, are you going to say that Ruto promised Hustler Fund and he didn't keep that promise? Are you going to honestly say that? However much you are persuaded to hate the person. Are you going to deny that Hustler Fund exists? Are you going to deny that people are using it? Are you going to deny that businesses are taking advantage of that? The micro businesses that were targeted by that. Are you going to deny that? So, the president promised that he's going to handle this and he's handling. He's been in power for 2 years. Give him time, see if he does not even make it better. But you are not going to do that because anything that he does that gives him credit is disapproving your theories And for that reason, even when he does what he promised, you still say he's a liar. You still look for something else. I told you there are 5 things that President Ruto promised that he will do if he's elected. And we've been going through them one by one. We have discussed affordable housing. They exist. We have discussed food security. I can tell you, for the first time, Kenya is producing more sugar than it uses. These are things that President Ruto promised he would fix, and is fixing them. You are buying unga cheaper. The president promised that he's going to roll out universal health care no matter what. It is on. And Kenyans have started enjoying these services. The teething problems are being handled as we move on. You don't perfect things before you launch them. You launch them, then you perfect them as you go on. That is how it is done world over. There is no perfecting before you launch. You launch and then you perfect the system. There is no system that does not need improvement. And so you launch and then you see areas that there are problems, and then you fix them as you go on, as Kenyans enjoy something better. The president said that he will do something about micro and small businesses, and he fulfilled his promise of launching the Hustler Fund the way he said. Another thing was the digital economy. You see, during the reign of President Ruto, he has engaged in person. He has engaged in person the leadership of Facebook, Meta. He has engaged in person the leadership of TikTok. The president has said that our people are on your platforms, and for some reason you are not allowing them to monetize. How did Meta react? Is Kenya not one of those countries that nowadays is allowed to be monetized? Before Ruto came into office, Meta had refused to monetize Kenyans. The creators had to create fake accounts in the US or UK. You would produce your content, but you wouldn't earn anything from them. Majority of these people were now forced to promote betting, even if you didn't believe in betting. That was the only way for these comedians and other creators to make money. Your content is not monetized. Meta will tell you, Facebook will tell you that your country is not eligible. Let us be real. That is what was going on. President Ruto took the initiative to sit down with the leadership of Meta in Kenya. And today, Kenya is one of those countries that they have allowed to be monetized in Africa. One of the few countries that are monetized in Africa. That is initiative. He said he's looking at digital economy and is making those progresses, ladies and gentlemen. It's not as if he promised he will do something about digital economy and is seated somewhere. No, he is. Currently, as I talk to you, the president and the MP sat down and agreed that part of the CDF will build an ICT hub in each and every ward. Do you know how revolutionary that is? Ruto also promised that he will create an information superhighway, that he will digitize government services so that Kenyans can get most of the government services from the comfort of their homes. How many government services today are on eCitizen? The other day, I was renewing my box office. Of course, they are still relevant. Nobody should lie to you. You will still need a box office one day or the other. You will still need a box office. In fact, to register a business, you will still need a box office. And so I wanted to renew my box office. I go and I find that poster is already online, and it is allowing you to do that process seamlessly online without leaving your home. This is just an example. There are so many things that you can nowadays do just from eCitizen. He said that he would make government services available online for Kenyans. Are they available online for Kenyans? And Kenyans doing most of the things. The other day I wanted to renew my post office, and all you have to do is to go to Posta website and you download their app, and you can do everything, including payment and everything, and even tracking the process via your app. He promised that he would make government services available online, and over 5,000 of government services are readily available for online. That is a promise William Ruto made, and that is a promise William Ruto has kept. William Ruto also talked about digital economy. As of today, ladies and gentlemen, the president and the MP, members of parliament, have agreed that part of the CDF will be used to build ICT hub in every ward. Do you know how revolutionary that will be? That our kids will be growing up not seeing computer for the first time when they come to Nairobi or when they go to a center and see a cyber. So that even in the rurals, we have access to information. We have access to digital jobs so that our youths who are coming from the polytechnics have a place they can go and try and look for online jobs. That is something that President Ruto promised he will do, and he has put it in motion. Today, you won't be surprised when you are somewhere and you are seeing on your phone free government Wi-Fi. These are things that President Ruto promised that he will do, and they are there, ladies and gentlemen. So, just to conclude, if you want to oppose Ruto because you don't like him politically, that is understandable. There is nothing anybody can do about that. That is the nature of politics. That is the nature of democracy. People pick who they want. But if you want to oppose Ruto, at least be factual. You can't say he has done nothing when the 5 things he promised he will do, he has done some of them and set others in motion 2 years in office. This is not even second term. This is just 2 years in office. William Ruto is laser focused on the things that he promised Kenyans. So if you're going to say William Ruto is the worst person you've ever seen, okay, say what you want. I must reiterate that this is a democracy and people will say anything they want against a candidate they don't like. But I say that if you want to accuse Ruto of being a liar, stop being a liar. You can't accuse Ruto of being a liar when whatever it is that you are using to accuse him in itself is a lie. It doesn't work like that, ladies and gentlemen. That is not how things work. If you are accusing me of being a liar, at least be factual. And you can't say William Ruto has not done anything, yet we can see the things he promised he will do. He has done whatever he promised. Because I told you, and I'm repeating this, you only judge somebody by what their job description is. In this case, you judge a presidential candidate by how well they are focused on their manifesto. And so far, what President Ruto said he will do, he is doing. You voted for him, especially those who voted for him but now oppose him. He told you this is what he was going to do. He told you, he was so detailed. He said, this is how I'm going to get the money. And you voted for him. And now he's doing that. And the selfish you is saying, he's raiding my pay slip. I'm overtaxed. The other day, a journalist asks the CS for Treasury, John Badi, that Kenyans are saying you are overtaxing them. That is what Kenyans don't want. You are introducing a lot of taxes and you're making life harder for Kenyans. A journalist. I told you most of them just pick the usual propaganda on social media and then turn them into real stories. And Badi asked him, as a journalist, can you just mention one new tax that I added? Just one. And he was quiet. He doesn't know any new taxes. All he knows is that people are on social media saying that Ruto is overtaxing us, Ruto is raiding our payslip. I go home with less than 40% of what I'm earning. These funny things that people say just for the sake of it. A journalist will pick it and make it a big deal, and then other people will believe that it is true. I repeat, if we are to oppose Ruto, let us be factual. If you are against Ruto because is not your favorite candidate, it's okay. But don't say that he has not done anything. Because we could talk until kingdom come. We can talk until kingdom come, and we will still point to you the things that William Ruto has done. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you found this video useful. If you didn't, also let me know in the comment section. If you did, let me know in the comment section. Feel free, I will engage you as usual. I am not usually afraid of opposing views, so feel free. Even if you don't choose to be civil, just feel free to share your views. And I want to take this moment to really thank you for taking your time to watch this video. Drop a like and share it with friends. Otherwise, let us meet in the next one.